Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast in a game between lalush versus Polt Prime here on Shakuras Plateau. This game is going to be a Terran versus Zerg on Shakuras Plateau. I believe this was taken from the TL Open. Not too much information beyond that, but yes, let's just go ahead and get into this game. We have Polt Prime spawning as the red Terran player, and I'll try to refer to him as Terran versus Zerg now, just because he is playing on a friend's account, versus lalush spawning as the blue Zerg. So red versus blue on Shakuras Plateau, and this will be a full cross spawn. Shakuras Plateau, a rather large map. Just a little bit smaller than Tal Dareem Altar in terms of the BattleNet map pool, but it is a rather large map, and it does open up for a lot of interesting styles of play. A lot of Shakuras Plateau, if it isn't about early aggression, it does turn into a marine siege tank battle against Banelings, Mutalisks, and Zerglings, and it then just all becomes who can just deal the most amount of damage while saving their units as well. The Marines medevac siege tanks, very, very strong. As long as they're attacking the right unit. Same thing with those Mutalisks, Banelings, and Zerglings. A barracks now being placed on the front door, so we may have a wall-off attempt eventually. The supply depot was placed down over here instead to increase the mining time. Meanwhile, Polt just continuing to, I guess he's going to try to build a double barracks. So he's going to go for early aggression here on Shakuras Plateau, waiting for the additional 150 and not going for gas. So we are opening up with a 2-racks build. Meanwhile, lalush opening up with a very fast hatchery, or the standard hatchery here. So with that standard hatchery, he may have to get some spine crawlers or pull some drones off, but most Zerg players now know how to fend off against a 2-racks rush very early on. One Marine now being trained up, but the drone will spot this in time and pretty much know how to respond accordingly. You can see the drone now simply passing by. He sees that there is no gas in play whatsoever, and now we are getting that supply depot there, so that drone's days are pretty much numbered. The drone most likely going to grow up. No, not going to grow up to be an extractor, just because he knows that his opponent isn't really trying to get that much gas at all, so no real reason in trying to block the gas. Spoke too soon, as the extractor now in play over here, and pretty much lalush will know how many Marines Polt has. So lalush sitting at 16/18 now. He does not have a spawning pool up yet. He will definitely need a queen. The timing on it absolutely perfect. Now training up 2 Zerglings and a queen. He should be training up another set of Zerglings as soon as he has enough minerals. Not quite sure what he's doing with that one larva there, but I'm assuming that he will be going for perhaps some more drones or doing something, as no real reason to sit on 2 larvae at this stage. Drones now being trained. You can see the spine crawlers now being morphed into play as these Marines are making a move out. And these Marines, interestingly enough, heading off to the north side, perhaps looking for an Overlord. He doesn't see the Overlord. The Overlord is over here, is not going to be able to spot it or shoot it down in time at all. And yeah, it will be able to survive at 99 hit points. If he had gotten there perhaps just a moment earlier, or about 3 seconds earlier, he should have been able to shoot down that Overlord. So a little bit of a lucky break for lalush, as that spine crawler is now up, creep tumor now being laid down, and lalush should have no problem defending against this 5 Marine pressure. But this Marine pressure was not an all-in pressure by any stretch of the imagination. You can see a command center being built, and a double refinery should be coming in shortly, as soon as these barracks are about 2/3 of the way completed. He definitely needs to get those gas in order to get tech labs, stim pack, and combat shields on those Marines. Another spine crawler being added, but lalush power droning his way into the game now, up to 25 drones, and lalush may be able to just simply sit back and relax and enjoy the show at this stage, as he's going to be able to out macro his opponent off of 2 hatcheries. More Marines are being trained, and we still don't have any gas whatsoever. I've never seen a Terran player go into 400 gas this early on. He was supply blocked for a little bit of time, as the Marines are now making their trip all the way back over here. You can see that there was an Overlord hiding here, but the Overlord not going to really be able to do much, as we are now going into a bunker. 11 drones were being trained there, so yeah, we are now going to get into like the 40 drone range for lalush in just a moment, as double spine crawlers being morphed into play once more. And now perhaps a macro hatch will be laid down. lalush sitting at 44/44, 44 yes, food or supply. Meanwhile, back over here, we are getting a lot of Marines now making perhaps a move out. We already have an orbital command in play. We should be getting some SCVs trained and transferred over as those Marines perhaps try to capture a Zelnaga watchtower. Now, there were some comments on why do I use the word supply or why do I use the word food when it should technically be the word supply. And I believe each of the races have a different terminology for their food. I believe it's control for Zerg. I believe it's Psi for Protoss, and then I believe it's supply for Terran. I'm not sure if that actually translated from Broodwar correctly, so I sometimes use the word and the term food just because it's a universal term that pretty much anyone can understand, and it applies to all three races since the other terms are specific to the other races. We can see now a group of 19 Marines backing off here, a lot of Marines, overall 22 Marines, but they're going to be fighting up against Roaches and Banelings in a moment as we are now getting the Banelings nest. So in comes Polt Prime. Polt Prime now trying to charge up the ramp. A lot of damage being dealt by those Marines. And in comes a transfusion as well. And the Marines are just slowly charging up the ramp. Another Roach destroyed. A Spine Crawler has been destroyed as well. The Roaches are doing a good job tanking a lot of damage there. And now the Queen down to 35 hit points, being forced to pull back. Yeah, the Queen does get taken down. But where are those Banelings? A swarm of Zerglings now coming into play. Polt Prime now dancing with those Marines, trying to get as much damage as possible. But they will get cleaned up by the rest of those Zerglings there. A nice trade in terms of armies. 850 versus 475 now, but with so many Banelings morphing into play, those Banelings are going to be able to catch Polt very easily out of position. And 5 Banelings against a squadron of Marines doesn't even sound like an even fight. We are getting up an additional gas over here. So Polt Prime now running off of 3 gas. And now we're going into that tank play. So it is going to be Marine tank off of 2 bases. But these Marines are going to have to really deal with a lot of Banelings. The Banelings do not have the movement speed upgrade. We are now teching the tier 2, so it will be a little bit more time as those Marines once again try to charge up that ramp. If at first you don't succeed, try again with the same exact strategy. Not the motto in StarCraft 2, but it looks like that's what Polt Prime is going for as those Zerglings getting picked off. Roaches are now trying to chase. The Roaches do move a little bit slower, or at the same speed as those Marines. The Marines just turning around every so often. The Banelings getting much closer as the Siege Tanks now starting to roll out. 2 Siege Tanks and Siege Tech now being started. 1 Baneling trying to make it in there. Oh, the Baneling getting detonated. Not close enough to actually deal damage to those Marines. Siege Tanks are in the ready. We should be getting perhaps Stim Pack in just a moment. No research yet at all. So Polt Prime is going to have a very difficult time trying to stop those Mutalisks. You really need Stim in order to catch up to those Mutalisks, get in additional shots, and also attack quickly enough. We can see a couple Queens over here. We do have a macro hatch. And down over here, with that pneumatized Carapace, we are not getting the Ventral Sacs or the Burrow research either. As Banelings now in pain, or now in play, or even more Banelings. 7 Banelings, 10 Banelings total. Stim Pack now being started. Siege Tech about to be completed as we are now getting even more units just in the middle of the field. 2,700 minerals versus 500 gas against 1,675. But the counter units are just so perfect right now. Yeah, the counter units are just so perfect. That perfect happened to message me there as the Siege Tanks. Are they going to siege up? Yeah, they're going to siege up, but that's going to be a problem as they are now going to get surrounded here. The Banelings, some of them were destroyed in time. The Marines now coming in from the far side, and now we have a large group of Marines. We do not see any more Banelings in production as the Marines do not have Stim just quite yet. And that one Baneling getting caught on the wrong side of those Roaches. The Roaches now going to be able to move much more quickly as the Marines are now trying to catch up to those Overlords. Overlords do move faster with that pneumatized Carapace, and Roach is now getting destroyed. We are getting a lot of Banelings, 19 Banelings. The Marines need to stim up as quickly as possible, and oh, down they go. All the Marines getting cleaned up, and perhaps, yeah, 1 Baneling and a Zergling finishing off that fight there. 900 minerals versus, or 1,200 versus 825. Gas is about the same at this point as Polt Prime. Really on the losing end of that battle, it felt like, as he had the larger army and now only has the larger army once more. Now that he has a stronger stronger macro in play. We can see a lot of overlords here. Overlords just in position and making sure to stop any drops from play as lalush now runs off of 3 bases. Overlords are now trying to get in position, but they are just going to get shot down. So lalush may end up being supply blocked in just a moment. There is a siege tank over here. And the siege tank needs to detonate all of those banelings remotely. Will it be enough? Able to, yes, get some of those banelings, but the rest of those marines are being split. And now more banelings. A nice trade by lalush. lalush now with a stronger army in terms of gas and in terms of minerals in order to push out those mutalisks. 6 mutalisks in the air. Level 1 weapons upgrade now being researched for the Marines. Combat shield also being researched as well as we finally get a medevac. Polt Prime having a bit of difficulties trying to fend off against all of these Zerglings and these banelings. 18 banelings will be, or 16 banelings will be hatched in the center of the field as we are moving into an infestation pit. Infestation pit about halfway completed as the mutalisks now flying along the edge. There is a missile turret now coming in. Missile turrets building rather quickly, but it doesn't matter as the SCV most likely will get destroyed in a quick second. Marines now stimming over, and it looks like, yeah, the missile turret will be able to complete off just in time, but not before a couple workers were destroyed. We are still running off of 2 bases by Polt. And Polt needs to figure out a time to take up his 3rd base. Right now would be perfect as he is now landing off in this position here. Pathogen glands now being researched as well. So we are going to be getting some fungal growth and infested Terran, perhaps even maybe some neuroparasite later in this game. 78 drones for lalush compared to 44 SCVs. This doesn't even look fair, but somehow the Terran does have a decent-sized army at this stage, as the banelings now simply just going to roll in and destroy so much. The banelings may be able to take down multiple supply depots, and now the Marines trying to fight back. Are they going to be able to stim SCVs? Marines now coming back in, and it looks like these banelings are going to find their way into the mineral line. Down go a group of SCVs, down go another group of SCVs, and the total workers killed, 35. By lalush. lalush looking absolutely dominating with 4 times the amount of workers. And economy means so much as Polt Prime now desperately trying to macro back into this game. He does have the larger army at this stage, but he needs to really utilize this and deal some damage. He has not been able to deal damage at all, as the Overlord's now perhaps going to get shot down. We are going to get some banelings over here. These siege tanks need to siege up. Marines need to pull back. Marines are pulling back, and now all of those tanks are just going to get splashed apart, but beautiful Marine split there, and now the rest of those units are just going to fall behind. More Overlords getting destroyed as the Marines once again roll out. 3,300 versus 1,425. Oh, and infestors getting off a key fungal growth. Siege tanks, oh, multiple chain fungal growths and dealing so much damage. Only 2 siege tanks left as the Zerglings are going to be able to clean up. And a beautiful chain fungal growth may have given the game to lalush. Taking down all of those Marines. When you can't kill them with banelings, go ahead and just kill them with that fungal growth. Undodgeable, instantaneous, and it cannot be moved. Marines once again rolling out. That one baneling suiciding its way into a Marine, but not enough to kill him as the siege tanks are getting in position, and now we are going perhaps into some drops. These 2 Marines need to separate from the rest of the party. It looks like it's going to be a drop into this position here. There are 2 spine crawlers already morphing into play, so that's going to be a bit difficult as the siege tanks need to siege up, and now going after the infestor. There you go. The Marines are now being split all apart as the Marines are battling it out. We are going to get perhaps a stim over here. No, and now it's finally trying to stim over here. It looks like the Marines are just going to get destroyed by those banelings as they get taken down. Marines once again pushing back in. It looks like the infestor may get off a fungal growth. The siege tank unable to support his Marine comrades at all, but the infestor did get destroyed there. Both sides just dealing a lot of damage to each other, and both sides just constantly trading armies as another Overlord once again destroyed. This siege tank, perhaps. Oh, another infestor. Is it going to get shot down? No. There's the fungal growth. One fungal growth may be able to take down those Marines. A siege tank once again trying to stim or siege up once more, and in comes another fungal growth. There you go. Multiple infestors, even without burrow. Infested Terrans now spawning in as well. Down goes one infestor as the banelings are now going to roll on in and finish the job, but a new fresh wave of Marines once again joining in on the fight. 27 harvesters compared to 77. I am not sure how Polt Prime is able to deal as much damage as he is. His economy, half that of his opponent. But the siege tanks getting every bit of damage possible. You can see down to 1 hit point on one of those siege tanks. And there you go. There's another fungal growth, and there's a dead siege tank, as it does deal additional damage against armored units. That one, Spinecrawler now taking down the Marines, trying to finish this off. It looks like the medevacs are not going to be able to have that much energy at all. That siege tank with already 4 kills, continuing the job as both sides just continue to get more and more reinforcements. And what is happening here? Army composition, still a larger army by Polt. Polt running off of 3 bases. Meanwhile, we can see that lalush is also running off of 2 bases. 2 compared to 3 bases at this stage in the game, as we are now getting more overlords into the air. Production, 15 more banelings about to come in, and it's really been just constant suiciding. Spinecrawlers now trying to root their way into a better position. Damage being shelled out, but now Infestor's going to come in. There is a fungal growth, another fungal growth maybe coming in. There's another fungal growth. Banelings now coming in from behind. Infested Terrans spawning all over the place, and those siege tanks are going to get destroyed. And we finally have a significant advantage for lalush, but lalush really has to be careful. He cannot expect to easily take this game. These infested Terrans are a little bit too far away to really get within combat range, and down they go. Zerglings once again being retrained up, more infestors, more spinecrawlers, more marines and tanks, as well as the marines are once again pushing out with a very small army, and the Zerglings gonna come in, surround once more. What's gonna happen with the infestor? The infestor not doing anything at all, as we may be getting medevacs in the air here. It looks like we may get a fungal growth off onto the medevac. No fungal growth off on the medevac, as the medevac now decides to pull back. 1750 versus 2000, with a 1000 versus 450 gas difference. Finally, lalush able to take a little bit of a reprieve in the constant action and battle, and now try to establish another base. Meanwhile, Polt Prime, with that planetary fortress here, he does not have any additional refineries, so he's still running off of only a couple geysers at this stage. Only 4 geysers. I'm trying to run off of 2 factories, able to constantly train up more and more tanks. And perhaps the siege tanks will be sieging up. Yes, they are going to be sieging up here. Marines making their way forward, as the Zerglings, banelings, and infestors backing off. There is one medevac that looks to try to do a drop. He is going to get past, or he's going to fly by a sea of overlords in the air. And and those overlords will just be able to stop this drop with absolutely no problem at all. Marines are now trying to move forward. We do see some infestors now coming in as well. The infestors getting off a fungal growth. Another round of fungal growth. The infestors have to be a little bit careful, though, as they may get taken down. This infestor, another fungal growth coming into play, and another fungal growth coming into play. So lalush just able to just use infestors and simply destroy the Terran army. Siege tanks once again on the move, trying to push their way out. There's not enough marine support, so the Zerglings may be able to finish them off. The infestors, however, are low on hit points, and we do not see any burrow research. This is a big surprise right now, as the burrows would significantly cut into the economy of Polt Prime. Polt Prime has been using mules pretty regularly throughout the game so far. More infestors and adrenal glands now coming in. Zerglings looking to swarm. Banelings moving in. Infestors we're gonna get a fungal growth off there. More marines over here. No additional fungal growths at all, as the marines killing off all of these units. And Polt Prime now with a much larger army once more, and the banelings melting more of those more of those marines again. But Polt still with the larger army at this stage, even though his economy is much weaker. You can see lalush is now mining off of this base here. Now is running 3 bases compared to 2. Once again, these mineral patches are now running rather low, as the marines are pushing out again, and lalush is in trouble. Zerglings continuing to swarm around, and the fungal growth continuing to deal more damage against these siege tanks. Marines gonna finish off another overlord. Zerglings once again swarming in once more, and it looks like all of these siege tanks will get destroyed. Infested Terrans are now going to be spawning over here. Zerglings maybe try to come in. No, unable to finish off those medevacs. Those medevacs getting in so much life, but now 9 more infestors coming into play. And you can see the sheer amount of gas army that Lalush has. 1275 siege tanks now looking to siege up and perhaps deal some damage up onto the high ground, but that does not seem to be really possible. Perhaps just trying to provide cover fire as the Overlord in position is going to see all of these units here. An Infestor quickly making its way over. Couple Banelings as well, as the Marines are now going to be coming in, and oh, fungal growth followed by a Baneling. Nicely done. Textbook play on how you should use Infestors and Banelings against a medevac drop. Army compositions once more. Lalush is in the lead again. Overlords are once again gonna perhaps suicide their way forward. You can see that there are a couple siege tanks here, and creep is now starting to be spread once again. And it will allow those Infestors and those Banelings to move much more quickly across the field. We are getting another drop up onto the high ground. Zerglings now coming in. Infestors coming in from behind. We are going to have a drop up onto the high ground here. Infestors getting off some infested Terrans now. And all of these siege tanks are going to get destroyed. But the siege tank up on the high ground may be able to deal some damage against all of these low ground units. And the Infestors are now just trying to counterattack once again. The Infestors do not have that much energy. Zerglings and Banelings trying to surround will be able to finish off all of those siege tanks, as the infested Terrans are now just being spawned into position and being forced to pull back. Infested Terrans walking very, very slowly. A very, very advanced group of units sitting over here, but they are not going to be able to deal that much damage as the main battle, as all of these infested Terrans are just fighting against these Marines. The infested Terrans are upgraded 0-2, so they are able to take a beating and essentially have the similar upgrades compared to their Terran counterparts. Expansion has been set up over here as well, lifted off from the main starting location as these destructible rocks were taken down. And yes, it looks like some creep was generated. Zergling's going to surround, take down, no, not take down those units there, as the Infestors once again try to push forward. No siege tanks in siege mode, and the Zerglings finishing off this last siege tank here. Polt Prime looking to mine off of this base down here. It looks like he will be able to get a stronger economy going in just a matter of seconds, sitting on 38 harvesters compared to 75. And the Marines are now once again just trying to push out. We are going to get some more Mutalisks into play once more. Perhaps the Mutalisks will be able to clean up those medevacs. That is what was missing earlier, as the Zerglings taking down these destructible rocks. The Mutalisks are going to be able to get some chain damage onto those Marines, and a fungal growth just may be enough to finish off just constant chain fungal growth. Yeah, there you go. Another there. Infested Terrans now coming in from behind the destructible rocks. Gonna get destroyed in a matter of seconds, as the Mutalisks are going to be able to finish it off. And now in come the Banelings. Infestors looking to deal some more damage. Zerglings now swarming their way in. Mutalisks trying to take down the missile turret will be able to do so. And now a fungal growth on all of these SCVs. Another group of SCVs destroyed, as we are now going into a greater spire. Another fungal growth coming in. The orbital command down to 106 hit points. It may get taken down. There it goes, as the Mutalisks are now finishing off the rest of the ground force here. Infested Terrans are nearby, and it looks like the Mutalisks may be able to finish off perhaps the rest of these siege tanks here. Marines are now trying to come over, offer some support, and now, yes, the Marines are going to be able to finish off those Mutalisks. Now moving back into the center portion of the screen, Ultralisks joining in the field. We do have Catonus plating being added as well, more Banelings, and Ultralisks do move rather quickly on and off of creep. The Infestors getting off a nice fungal growth there, and now you can see the Kaiser Blades just ripping through, and those siege tanks, those Overlord, or these Ultralisks just splashing their way in. Infested Terrans coming in once more, and those Ultralisks chomping their way at the bit, trying to take down those siege tanks, and they will get taken down in just a moment. Down it goes, now going head-to-head against a planetary fortress. Banelings may be coming in, and there's the GG by Polt Prime. So game 1 going to Lalush here on Shakuras Plateau. Stay tuned for game 2.